Hi, welcome to How to Digitize a Book Part 3. This time we're going to use a photocopier, and that is going to produce A3 dual pages like this here. I've decided to use this book again, the ABBYY's book. It's a very old book, and it will result in dual pages being copied, which later we'll have to split. For now, I'm going to be using this photocopier. Don't worry if you see me scanning a different book. The principles are the same. I'm just showing you how to set up the copier in order to get these scans which I have here. These were also scanned on this copier. So let's go over to the video now. Now I'm going to show you how we use the photocopy scanner to copy both black and white and colour. And I've put my USB stick in. So let's lift the lid and wake it up. Or press this button here. And now we have to press scanner. And in order to save it onto my USB, I have to go to Store File and click Store to Memory. Click OK. Now before we do anything, these settings are really on the lowest. We need to make them higher. And what we're going to do is press the settings. As you can see, we have black and white and we have colour available. If we're doing black and white, then normally there's photos involved, so you would click on that one. And the same with colour. You would normally click on this one. So as we're doing colour, I'll leave it there. And the only other setting I use is the resolution. 200 is far too low, and 300 might be acceptable for black and white. But for colour, you may as well try and get the best possible image. So we're using 600. And it scans the same speed, so it doesn't matter. It's not like if you have an inkjet printer, it will scan slower. We're going to scan now the cover and a few pages, and then I'm going to show you how I alter it when I'm at home. Now I am going to scan it upside down. So press OK and press scan. And I'm going to do the back page as well. Now here you will see it says I've got 53 seconds to press the start key. If not, I can press the hash and say it's all over, and it will save that. Let's go back, and I'm going to just copy a few pages, not the whole book, to show you. I'll do the next page, making sure you put it in the corner all the time and holding down with both hands. The reason I do it this way is it's easy just to turn over the page and flop it back, and so it's much quicker to actually scan it upside down. Remember, once you've got it at home, even though it's upside down, it's just a few clicks to turn it the right way up. It doesn't really matter which way we scan. As you can see, it's quite quick. I'm getting 2 full pages of scan with high quality definition, so that when we project it on the board, it's very clear for the students to see. Just one more page. And then I click the hash key. So you can imagine now how it's done with other books, black and white books, or library books, or any other book you have. It will take a while for it to write to the copy. As you can see, that took about 3 or 4 minutes and I'd only done 10 pages. So if you do a large book, it will take a lot longer. So I'll remove the memory device. Now, before we start with part 1, I just want to show you where we quickly get these free pieces of software from so that you can install them. If you've watched videos part 1 and 2, you will already know this, but Briss here is a new one, and I will show that installation separately. Let's start with PDFXChange editor. You can download the trial version, you can use it forever, but you are limited. But we still get the OCR and we can still turn pages upside down, so that's great. However, look how inexpensive it is. If you want to buy it, you don't need to buy the Plus, just buy the editor. It's fantastic value. Now you can get the portable version, which I have on my desktop, and you simply click on that. Make sure you click it with the OCR inside it, and once you've clicked on that, it will download automatically, or you can click here to make sure it does. And then there is, if we look here, there's XNCONVERT we need, and this here, you just scroll down and you can get the 64-bit version for free. Next, there is the image converter, where we change the images and the PDFs, or we change the images to PDFs, and we can combine the different PDFs or combine the images together into a PDF. You can simply download that. It's free. After a while, you'll notice it says to me that I'm using a limited version, but for what we use it for, the limited version is fine. And finally, there is Briss here. Now Briss, when you download it, it will ask you to download Java as well. It's a little technical, but I really make the steps simple and easy to understand. So let's move on now and let's do our steps in the process. When it comes to Briss, I will show you how it is installed. Now we move on to the first part of how to digitize the book. We're going to use PDFXChange, and we're going to rotate the PDF and convert them to JPEG. Now before we do this, let's open the scanned PDFs. You can see I have 3. I have the covers, part 1 and part 2, because I did take a break. Let's rename these first of all. Covers, part 1, and part 2. So we're going to open up our portable PDFXChange editor, and let's drag in our covers first. Now we need to change these to images first. So let's do that. Let's go to File and Export to Images, which is free. You can see if you want to export it to Word, it would cost you. You'd have to buy the new one. But don't worry, the new one is cheap. It's only about €38. Now we're clicking all. There's only 2. Let's pick a place where they're going to be saved. I want them saved as JPEG. You might have it as PNG. I would save it as JPEG. Just the normal JPEG. and pick a place to save it. So I've gone for the desktop, and my covers should be there. There it is, PDF to image covers. Select that, everything else should be fine. And it opens it out. Let's have a look. See if we've lost any quality. We shouldn't have. No, it's perfect. And the next one. No, it's all wonderful. Okay, so we can close that out. And the next one is this one. Now for this one we are going to rotate it. It just makes it easier when we're dealing with it. I guess we should have really rotated the other one, but that doesn't matter. Let's look at it full page. And we go to Document and Rotate the pages. We're going to rotate all 180 degrees. And that's done. We'll press Save. And now we're going to export it to images. This time we will choose the JPEG, and we'll choose the place will be the first half, images of the first half. And we can press Go. Now I'll pause while that gets going. Okay, so there are the images, all present and correct. I'll just double click on one just to check it. Check the quality, it's quite good, very nice. And let's do the same for the other part 2. Drag it in, and you notice I have the covers part 1, part 2. First things first, rotate. I'll press Save. And then export to images. JPEG, change the folder to part 2. And away we go. And I'll pause again till that finishes. Okay, so that's nearly finished, and it should automatically open up. And there are our images. All 3 PDFs have been put into image files, so we don't need this box anymore. And let's go on to the next step. We've rotated and converted them to JPEGs. That was really quick. Let's do the next step where we're going to crop and whiten the pages and also maybe darken them as well. You can do both at the same time. You can darken the black text and whiten the background. For this, we're going to open XNCONVERT and we're going to add the folder. On our first folder we're going to add is the first half of the images. Let's do that first. And let's look at our actions. I'm going to clear them because it's better we start fresh. The actions for this are mainly cutting and changing the darkness of the pages. So we're going for the crop. We only have to crop the top, really. We could crop a little of the edges, but let's have a look. Let's crop the top, say 140. So we've got before and after. That looks good. Just check a few other pages. Yes. And now we're going to add another action. Go in maps and we're going to change the levels. And we simply use these two icons here. You can see the picture here. Let's zoom in a bit more. Let's zoom in there. And we'll make it a bit darker. Oh, that's lovely. And we're also going to add a bit of whiteness because some pages, let's turn to them, some pages have this kind of yellow mark down the middle. And like this one in particular. And if I just add a bit of whiteness, you can see it gets rid of some of it. You might be worried about going too light in case the text goes away. Once again, maybe just a little bit of lightness, like that. Not too much. That looks okay. Let's have a look at a few more pages. Just zoom in. I just want to check everything's okay with the lettering. Yeah, it's good. So a little bit of light and a little bit of darkness and a crop. So the next, in order to make those actions happen to all the pages, we need to choose an output folder. And as it is part 1, I'm going to put them in a folder of the same name. This is where the images came from, part 1. I'm going to make a folder within a folder. So I'll just put edited. Edit part 1. Select the folder and you can see it's selected there. And all we need to do is press convert. And that takes almost no time at all, as you can see. So I'm going to close that and open up that folder. Here's the originals, here's the edited, and it looks quite nice. Just click on a page to check. Yes, looks really nice. And the text is quite strong. Let's do it to the next two folders. Once again, XNCONVERT, add folder, add where's the desktop? Add part 2, second half. Go to the actions remain the same. We shouldn't need to do anything. Just check the pages. Everything's fine. Yes, even the darkness and the lightness is the same, which is good. Go to the output, choose a different output folder. This time we'll go to the part 2 and add a folder here. Part 2. And simply press convert. Close that off. Once again, we'll double check. Yep, there are our files. Let's make large icons. Yeah, they look quite nice. Close out. One more to do, just the covers. Add the folder, covers, and action for after. But this time the 140 needs to go at the bottom because, as you remember, we didn't turn this upside down. So let's do 140. The bottom looks quite nice. We'll leave the darkness and the lightness, that's fine. Output, folder will be in covers. Edited covers. Select folder and go. Okay, and then we'll check the covers as well. And here they are, looking dandy. So, we've done part 2, we've cropped and whitened the page. And now we're going to convert the images back to PDFs. So let's do that quickly. And we're going to use PIXILLON image converter. Now I've used this quite a bit, and it says you can buy, but the restricted features are enough for us because all we're doing is combining the files. So let's add a folder, and we're going to find our images. Remember, we're going to the edited images, part 1. Select the folder, there they all are. And we're just going to combine that here. But before we combine it, make sure we have the right settings. Go to the encoder settings and make sure it's not on portrait. Make sure it's on landscape and stretch to printable area. We can leave it low to high, it's not so bad. Let's save that and combine. Now we'll need to give it a name, so let's put it on the desktop as part 1. It's easy enough to remember. Open file, and there it is. That's our part 1. Let's close out, open it again, continue, add the folder. This time we're going to add part 2. Check these settings, yep, they're good. Combine to the desktop and call it part 2. We won't need to open the file. We've now converted them back to PDF. Let's now choose just those part 1 and part 2. We need to split those pages, and then we're going to join all 3 PDFs together. Let's do that now. I've downloaded Briss, and I'm going to double click it and open it. You can open it with a zip file, 7-zip or WinRAR, and I'm going to drag it onto my desktop. Close out. Now the first time you run Briss, it's going to ask you to download Java. This application requires Java. Say OK. And simply agree and start downloading the JavaScript. That's already done, so I'm going to double click that and I'm going to install. Okay, so we've installed Java. We'll close and see if we can run Briss again. I'm clicking on Briss and close that, and we just need to load the file. So we're going to load from the desktop the part 1. We just press cancel for this, and you can see in the top left it's loading. Okay, and you can see somehow the images on the back. Not very clear, but that's not important for us. We are going to split it. First thing you want to do is just remove these rectangles. We're going to make fresh rectangles. And the way to do this is we simply make one rectangle about here. Remember, we can go all the way to the bottom. And another rectangle here. Again, we go to the corner. Remember, we can go right up here. And we can stretch that here. What I'll do is we right click and we select. Once we select them both, you're given measurements which really help when you're trying to alter to get it to the right width or height. Here we go. We've kind of got yeah, because that needs moving to the top. So this should be 210 as well. So they're both 210 on the length. As for the right and left, what we'll do, we'll just do a action preview just to see how it will look once we've done it. But don't do this yet, because what you have to do is you have to right click after you've selected both and copy both selected rectangles, and on this page you right click and paste the rectangles. Why you have to do this, I don't know, but you do. And we'll do it again for part 2 so you can remember it. Action, let's preview what it will look like. And I like this because the preview comes quite quick. You can notice the cut line down the middle. It's not very centered. Not as centered as we would like. Look here. So it needs to be a bit more to the right. So what we can do is just move this across a little bit. Let's say 50 and give this 47. And let's try, and remember we're going to have to deselect these rectangles because we have to copy these and paste those because they have to be the same. Again, we're going to preview. That looks a bit better. That looks very nice. Ooh, look at that, just a little bit to the right. But let's go further on, see how it is with the other pages. It's quite nice there. It's quite nice there. Could be a little to the left here. It's not so good. Here it's a bit too much to the right, but not at all bad. Yeah, maybe here's not so clever. Here, not so good. Could be a little bit to the left, not much. That one was good, but some are good, some are not. I'd say on average, move it back a little bit to the left, but not too much. It hasn't disturbed the text. For here, we'll move it a little bit to the left. We've got 170, 147. Let's move it to 145. See how that is. And 151. So once again, we have to delete these rectangles, copy the selected rectangles and paste. Action preview. Yeah, it's cut over the photo, who cares? But the rest of it's quite nice. Oh, that's much better there. And everywhere else it looks much better. It's all a bit of give and take. That's why when you're scanning, it's really important that you try to make sure the pages are start in the corner and as flat as possible. That is brilliant. I like that a lot. So I'm going to crop the PDF. And it'll just say part 1 cropped in the desktop. So let's save. And as we can see on the 1-page view, it's quite good. Each page is cropped. Very nice. On the 2-page view, it looks quite nice. Very happy with that. And now we have to do the same for the other one. We might want to write down these numbers, 210 and 245. I'll just try and remember that, 145 and 210. We can close this out. So open the bris, load the file, part 2. Press cancel and watch it load. Once again, we have to delete these rectangles and make fresh rectangles. Make sure it's in the top corner to where we want the bottom. And another one. Start it like this, push it to the top, and then to the bottom. Right click and select. Right click and select. Remember, it's 145. This is 146. Let's make it 145. Easier said than done. And this will just go as wide as we can. Both 210, which is good. So let's right click, copy the selected, right click, paste. And now we'll go to the preview. Okay, looks quite good. Perhaps could go a little to the right, because this is the second part of the scan. Maybe the pages would need moving to the right a bit more. Yeah, I think so. Not so bad, not a lot to the right. Let's try it, just a little bit. So we'll move this one from 152 to 150, 45 to 47. And remember, we have to delete these rectangles and select or copy the rectangles and paste. Preview again. Okay, it's a little to the right on the early pages. Then it starts to go centered halfway. Looks quite good. So after halfway, so it kind of evens itself out, You get a bit too much on the left here. Down the middle, at 45, it's perfect. And in the early ones, it's a bit too much on the right. But not that much. I think that's good. So I'm going to use that action, crop. And there we see our pages Quite nice. And that's all we need from the Briss, our page splitter. And now we just need to join those PDFs together with the cover. Let's open PIXILLON Image Converter. So we'll click on our icon here and we'll continue to use the demo. Now I'm simply going to drag and drop a mixture of the PDF and JPEGs. Here's part 1 cropped. Here's part 2 cropped. Both are about 50 megabytes. As for the covers, we're going to have to use the images because in the PDF the front and back are together. Now I've made 2 copies of the front because we need odd pages in order to make the pages look good. It will be explanatory once it's finished. So I'm going to drag them in there. They are called part 0 to go along with this. And in order to make sure that's at the end, we'll call it part 3. I did eventually learn how to move the pages up and down, and I'll show you that later. Now there's 2 things we have to do here. First, we have to check the encoder settings, and we need to make sure it's A4, it's portrait, it's stretch to printable, and instead of having it on high, which will make it double the megabyte size, 75 is sufficient. So we leave it there and we press save. Before we convert them all or combine them all, we need to make sure that the options here in the DPI settings are not 72 but 300. You can see here it says using non-pixel based format like PDF. It would come out very weak and you wouldn't even be able to read it. It needs to be the highest it can be, which is 300. So we say OK and we press combine. And it's here that I realize I would have been able to move the image up and down in the order I want it. But a bit late for that now. I've already changed the name and we're ready to go. So let's combine all the images. We'll give it a name. We'll call it all. Saving to the desktop. And I'll pause while this continues to combine. Okay, that's coming near the end. And now we're going to just press open the file. And you can see I've got 2 pages together because I need these 2 pages to be together. So the numbers on the left and on the right. And everything looks very nice. Let's have a look at the detail. If we have detail. So that's a close-up of the picture. Yes, quite good. Happy with that. And the size is 88 megabytes. That's very good. Our final action is going to be OCRing the text. Let's just open up. And I'm going to drag in the book. Like I said, there are 2 methods to making the book OCR'd. When we click on it, you can either let it detect and deskew, incorrect pages and fix that. If they're slightly at an angle, it fixes it. We're not going to do that for this book because the problem is some of the pages have text going at strange angles and it will actually disque the page, which is not what we want. So we're just going to leave it at that. For most other books, like a normal book that you read, you would put this on and it would straighten the text and align everything, which is good. But not for us today. So we'll leave it there, leave it at medium, and we press OK. Once again, I'm going to pause while it does this. Okay, we're coming up to the end now, and that took about 30 to 35 minutes, and you can see it's completed. And let's have a look at some of the text that we can now highlight. As you can see, I can now select text, which I could highlight if I so wished, or strike out. Okay, so that's our completed book. Let's just check out the properties and we'll save, and let's see how large the file is. So that's our copy, and it is 90 megabytes, which is quite good. I hope you enjoyed that video, and the next video is going to be really excellent, where we actually copy online books. So don't forget to subscribe and give it a like.